All right, we'll turn to Lou.
All right. Well, the City Council did hear a report from our economic development consultant. Just a little bit of background. The city had received a grant from the state of Illinois. These were federal funds that were available to address COVID-19 pandemic issues, and it was a planning grant to help develop an economic recovery plan post COVID-19, and so Mark Rolthert, which is the consultant that the city retained to undertake this planning study, gave a progress report to the council last night, and he talked about the collection of data that he's had and socioeconomic information about Monmouth in comparison with other Illinois communities, and then also identified the various strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities. And he reported on that. There really weren't any particular questions from the council, but we're about 1/3 through the planning process, and Mark is also working with the board of directors from the Maple City Area Partnership, MCAP, who is really kind of overseeing the development of the plan, but ultimately it's the city council who will adopt the plan once it's prepared. So Mark gave a kind of a status update last night to the council, and he'll be back as we make continued progress, particularly with the development of the priorities. I think Mark did mention 3 of the priorities would be to continue to make the infrastructure improvements, particularly as it relates to supporting economic development, and that would include commercial, industrial, and particularly residential. Another one is actually, one of the other priorities is to try to really advance new residential development, and I think we've recognized that here within the administration for many years, that we really do need to try to attract new residential development. We've been working very hard on that, but it's been difficult to attract land developers and home builders because the market, while we feel we have a strong residential market here in town, the builders and the developers that we've talked to don't really know and understand the Monmouth community like we do, and so we've spent a lot of time trying to educate them, and we also spending a lot of time and effort trying to identify potential land parcels that are suitable for the extension of water, sewer, and that type of thing. So that's also a priority that will be in the plan. And then thirdly would be to try to identify and secure the funding for a full-time economic development professional position for the community.
Okay, and yes, I've had a chance to review some of that collection of data. Mm-hmm. The strengths and weaknesses are very similar to other rural parts of the state of Illinois, because he was able to show us a comparison. According to the data, it showed that our census numbers were down. Are we sure of that? Because the census was done during the onslaught of the beginning of the pandemic, meaning we had a strong 70% number we hit with census completion in March of 2020, and then it never really recovered to get to that 80-90%. So we don't know for sure if our census is correct, but we are affected by those numbers.
Yeah, that's very true, and we don't know. I mean, we don't have the evidence to indicate that our population is more than what the census dictate, but we certainly suspect, particularly given the migrant population that we have in town, we do believe that our population is higher than what the census says, but we don't have the resources to go out and conduct our own census, just given it's cost prohibitive for us to do that. But we believe that we have a higher population count than what the census reports.
And what were some of the other strengths and weaknesses you both ascertained from the socioeconomic report as well?
Well, we do have a fairly high concentration in low and moderate income households, which we knew already. And then, of course, just the location in west central Illinois, somewhat isolated from the population centers, but we do, we are at the crossroads of highways 34 and 67, which are major truck traffic corridors. So we benefit from that. We certainly have a very strong industrial base with the presence of Smithfield and their employment base, and that's really a lot of the basis for our need for additional residential housing units is because of the commutes that so many of the workers there coming in from Burlington, the Quad Cities, and Peoria and other parts of, that's quite a distance to travel to work on a daily basis. So we're hopeful that seeing that as one of our strengths, that we have this employment base that really helps create and generate the housing demand that we believe is here. So.
Okay. Anything else you want to share about the economic data?
Well, I just wanted to highlight those three priority areas of funding a full-time economic development professional, continued infrastructure improvements to support economic development activities, and then of course the residential housing component.
Yes, and if you know of someone who is interested in becoming that person, that economic development developer for the community, you can go to the City of Monmouth website, and there is a link you can click on to actually apply, because we are taking applications as part of the city and Maple City area partnership, at least starting to look at potentially qualified candidates.
Yes.
It's been a while. Last person we had was at Paul Skidema, Mayor?
Yes, that's correct.